All right. Well, here we are. It is Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Welcome, everyone, inside the Gut Solution. I am Maro Salerno, the Gutsy Health Coach. I am super thrilled to be here with you today, and I'm super thrilled to be getting back to our live weekly streams after a really nice summer. So I hope you all are doing well. I hope many of you are resolving your chronic digestive conditions. And if you are not, I hope that you find this page super fruitful, super helpful, and that you're able to reach out to me to get the help that you need. For those of you who don't know me, or if it's been a little while, my name again is Maro Salerno, and I help people with their chronic digestive issues to get free of pain and dread of the toilet. And I utilize a functional medicine approach to naturally resolve things like constipation, diarrhea, gas, bloating, SIBO, reflux, IBS, IBD, you name it, okay? And it's pretty awesome, the kinds of results that we get for people. And I feel super grateful to be doing the work that I'm doing, because I truly believe that without your health, what else is there in life? It's pretty hard to do anything when you don't feel well, when your body isn't functioning properly. So that's me. For those of you who are here with me live, please drop a comment, say hello. Let me know if you've been here before, if you're kind of new to getting into the group, let me know. And let me know, do you have digestive issues? Do you notice that you're having a difficult time digesting your food? So let me know in the comments. I love to hear whether you're here live or watching on the replay, either way, because I go back to these videos and check them out. Before we get started, I also wanted to just remind you all that we have a guide section. It's a tab at the top of the group page. And in there, what I do is I organize all of the content inside the page. Because if you're anything like me, scrolling forever is not super delightful. And so I really like to just go see titles and get to business kind of thing. So you can go into the guide section, you can see all of the live streams there. And if there's any additional resources, I also put that in there too, like guides and things that I make. So that is that part. Now, let's get started. So digestive power. I want to start by first just kind of talking and explaining to you guys kind of how the digestive system works, what happens kind of anatomically in the body, so that you have a nice, clear understanding of what's going on. And that way, everything else that I share, I think will make a lot more sense for you. So as I'm going along, if you have any questions, again, whether you're live or on the replay, just place them in the comments and I'll be happy to clarify anything. Okay, so I'll do my best here to be as clear as possible. So what happens when we first begin eating food, right? We put the food in our mouth, hopefully we chew, talk about that in a minute. And then we chew the food and then we swallow, right? And once we swallow, that food moves down the esophagus, down into the stomach. And when it hits the stomach, that's when hydrochloric acid, also known as HCl, and digestive enzymes inside of the stomach start to basically break the food down, okay? It starts that process of breaking the food down. And then from the stomach, we then move in towards these other organs and the small intestine. So we've got the pancreas and we've got the gallbladder and the liver, and then we've got the small intestine. Now, what's so cool about the pancreas is that it gives us, it kind of secretes for us, or for lack of beautiful term, squirts. It squirts some of those pancreatic enzymes. So if you've ever looked at a digestive enzyme on the bottle, you'll see something called lipase, amylase, and protease, right? And these three enzymes help to break down your carbohydrates, your fats, and your proteins. And so the pancreas does an awesome job of doing that. The pancreas also does some work as well, of course, of managing blood sugar levels, insulin, and our sugar balance in the body. So that's what the pancreas does. And then the gallbladder and the liver squirt for us some bile, okay? And that bile also helps to break down our foods as well. So the stomach, the pancreas, the gallbladder, and the liver, all of these kind of major organs in the body kind of prepare this food as, and also help in the small intestine to break down the food, okay? So now as you're thinking about the small intestine, now some of this is happening with, I hope I'm not confusing you all, but in the small intestine, actually the pancreas, the liver, and the gallbladder are promoting this bile secretion, okay? So it's not like it happens all just separately. So in the small intestine, then there's still some breakdown of food that's happening. Now, once the food breaks down into a small enough micronutrient size, it then begins to be absorbed through the cell walls of the small intestine. And then we absorb those nutrients into the body and utilize it as energy. So when I'm talking about digestive power, I'm talking about this process from the mouth to the esophagus, in the stomach, working with the pancreas, the gallbladder, the liver, and the small intestine. Hey, Bruce, welcome. Nice to see you, kind of. Happy to see you here. And so that's what I'm referring to as digestive power. Now, most people don't have enough digestive power. And how do I know that? Well, for most of you, I mean, give me a hand up on the comments if you've got constipation, diarrhea, gas, bloating, reflux, if you know you maybe have SIBO, or any other kind of chronic digestive condition. I mean, if you've got any of these symptoms, burping, belching, very full after you eat a meal, all of these are symptomologies really of poor digestive power. And there's many reasons why this can happen. Typically, I see that most people struggle with digestive power, not just for a short period of time, but most people struggle with it for most of their lives. A lot of children, you know, when you're a child, you maybe didn't chew your food really well, you had rushed meals, maybe you didn't really sit down for a meal, nobody taught you these things, or maybe you watched your parents rushing through a meal, eating really fast. These are some of the common things that I hear from my clients when we start talking about this. They're kind of reflecting back. So it creates a very major foundation, and then you kind of get into this habit where, you know, you're not really having a good digestive ritual, if you will. And then everything biochemically starts to get weak as well, okay? So you're not producing enough of these enzymes, not enough hydrochloric acid. You've got sluggish organs, a sluggish intestine, etc. Now, there's other things that can affect digestive power. So toxins, pathogens, antibiotics, medications, prescriptions, etc. So these are all things to be aware of and to think of big picture as to what has been contributing to a lack of digestive power in your body, so that you can then start to be like, okay, you start sussing it out and you're like, I need to make a change. It's time to make a change. Now, I will say, you know, there's some of you that are in this group who are eating really clean foods and you're still struggling with digestive issues. So it's not just about eating clean food, though I absolutely 100% believe that everybody needs to consume clean food. However, it's not the only piece of the puzzle. Okay, let me just review my notes really quick because there's a lot to talk about and I don't want to get off track here. Okay. So when you don't have enough digestive power, what does that kind of look like? So you eat the food, you probably didn't chew well. It goes down, right? It hits the stomach and you're starting to digest. probably within, for some people, it can be pretty chronic and fresh, if you will, like it happens quickly, where within maybe 15 to 20 minutes, they're already feeling like some belching and some bloating and fullness. For most people, I think it takes about half hour to 1 hour for them to notice, but it depends on the person. And you start to feel these symptoms, right? The gas, the belching, maybe for some of you, it's heartburn, it's indigestion, gas. So all of these start telling us like, food is not breaking down. It's not breaking down. It's sitting there and it's starting to ferment, and it's not moving. It's not breaking down, and the body knows that. So it starts getting real slow, or it's just going to push the food out of the body for those of you who experience diarrhea, and it's going to try to get rid of it because it's going to feel like it's an invader. And why is it stuck here, right? So that's something to notice. Now, what are some of the things that you can do to help resolve this? And I'm going to share with you kind of layers of what it looks like. But firstly, number one is chewing. Sounds really basic, but it's actually one of the most profound pieces of gut health. Good, solid overall health is chewing properly. Sounds crazy, right? And people, when you say chewing, don't just not listen to me anymore, okay? Hang in with me here. So when you chew your food, actually, even before you chew your food, when you smell your food, you look at your food, you take a couple deep breaths in, you're actually beginning to stimulate a signal in the brain into the pituitary gland, and that's going to signal your vagus nerve. So many of you probably heard of the vagus nerve. If you haven't, well, welcome. Here's the vagus nerve. It's pretty awesome. But if it's not functioning correctly, this can be part and parcel of what's going on with you. So the vagus nerve is actually not one nerve. It should be called vagus nerves. But it's these two nerves that sit in the back of the skull, if you will, up there. And what it does is it comes down and then it spindles off into all these other nerves that connect into all these different places in the body. Now, when it comes to the gut and digestion, what the vagus nerve does is it begins to signal the stomach, the pancreas, the gallbladder, the liver, the small intestine. It begins to signal all of them to begin to secrete hydrochloric acid and enzymes and movement and just breakdown, right? Working. And so if you are not taking a moment to really see your food, breathe, taste, and chew at least 28 times, right? Or even just really chewing until your food is kind of soft and liquidy, and then swallowing. Well, this is what is going to be part of the issue with you not being able to produce enough enzymes. So think about yourself and tell me in the comments, like, are you a person that stands up when you're eating? Are you eating while you're walking around, like little bits here, little bit there? Do you eat a lot in the car? Are you eating a lot on the go? Yeah, exactly. So, chewing is so absolutely important. And honestly, I'm going to try to do my best this next days and into next week to keep posting almost irritatingly to all of you to really focus on chewing, and even the couple of preliminary steps before that, to look at your food, to breathe. And if you're comfortable with it, I really encourage you to say a prayer, whether it's a prayer to your body and to God. If it is a prayer to allow God to help you digest this food more properly, to help you have your body work more optimally, and just get into more of a relaxed state. a more of a state of mindfulness. You know, there's nothing like being in such a rush and not being present during a meal. It's like you ate the whole thing and then you get to the end of the meal and you're like, oh my God, like it's gone already. Or what did it even taste like? Or what just happened? If you guys are on here live or on the replay, can you relate with that? I mean, is that something that, whether it's even now or in the past, that you have engaged in those kinds of eating habits? Let me know, because it's a big deal. Okay. So we covered chewing and kind of the vagus nerve, right? Now I want to talk about breath work. So you have to have a level of presence, willingness, and patience. And I honestly don't think it takes that much patience, because in the scheme of things, if you were to actually time yourself, this probably would take 5 minutes or less to do. But I think sometimes our modern day minds kind of go into this monkey state where, you know, it's like, oh, no, not, I can't take a few minutes to do that good thing for me. But you do need to. So with breath work, utilizing a 4-8-4 breath count will actually help to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So the parasympathetic nervous system is the one that helps you with rest and digest. Okay. Sorry, Connie Ann. Yeah, I gobble lunch, hardly chewing, only 15 minutes with generally sandwiches. Exactly, right? It's just like, so, and I understand, because this probably sounds like maybe that's your only time. I'm not sure. Maybe you can share that with us, or is it just a habit? So what I mean by 4-8-4 count is that you would take a inhale of 4 counts, you would hold the breath, and then you would exhale for a count of 4. Now, when you inhale, you want to focus on the breath really filling the belly instead of the chest. The chest is more of this like hyperventilating area, and that can have some benefits sometimes, but for what we're doing here and how we want to activate the parasympathetic nervous system a little bit more, activate digestion and relaxation, focus on the belly, a slow breath, preferably through the nose, okay? If any of you guys have a yoga practice, I was a yoga teacher for a very long time, longer than I'll tell you. And so you really want to draw the breath into your belly. And if you can, use Ujjayi breath for those of you who know it. And then you'll hold the breath for a count of 8. And then exhale, preferably through your nose, for a count of 4. Now, for some of you, if you've never done breath work before, or maybe your lung capacity just hasn't been exercised in that way, this may feel a little bit too long for you. So what I suggest you do is find an inhale that works for you. And whatever the inhale is, double that for your hold. And then on your exhale, mimic your inhale. Okay. And then eventually, as you start cycling through this and you do it, you're going to start to expand your lung capacity, you know, exercise your ability to breathe properly, and you're going to start to be able to go to a 4-8-4 breath count. The key is no stress. If for some reason you ever feel dizzy or anything like that, just do a lower count, and that's okay. But this is just going to give you an opportunity. If you sit in front of your plate before you eat and you stop yourself, even if you're super hungry, you wait, you take a couple of deep breaths, you do this breath work count, maybe do 5 rounds. You want to do more? Go for it. Okay. But try to do at least 5 rounds, and then look at your food, take some deep breaths, smell it, look at it, take the first bite and start chewing, and start to begin to track. Do you start to notice a difference in your digestive power just through those simple free tools? Okay. Do we have any questions about that? Let me know. Oh yeah, this is something that I wanted to say to you all, which is that, you know, when you lack digestive power and the food is just sitting there fermenting, it no longer becomes medicine. It becomes like poison, right? And so it's just something to think about. It's like you have to interact with your food. You need to chew it. You need to use your back teeth and your front teeth, and you need to get this whole process going. Maybe one of these live streams, I'll share with you guys the work of Dr. Weston A. Price from the 1920s. It's pretty fascinating stuff, what he talks about, the dental arch and teeth and chewing and all of that. Maybe some of you have heard of him. Have any of you ever heard of Dr. Weston A. Price? Again, those of you on the live or replay, please comment. Okay. All right, so the other obvious tool that we have for helping with digestive power are both digestive enzymes and bitters. So bitters are typically found by making kind of like an elixir tonic, like a tincture. And they're used with alcohol. I believe that there is a brand out there that's a little bit newer that's not using that. Oh, cool. Hey, Kim. So, but yeah, so digestive bitters are something that you can consume either, you know, before your meal, preferably. Typically, we try to consume digestive bitters about 15 minutes before a meal. You can also use apple cider vinegar if your body tolerates it well. I suggest working with about half a teaspoon or so when you're beginning, but you can work all the way up to 2 tablespoons in a couple ounces of water about 15 minutes before a meal. And apple cider vinegar is wonderful for helping to upregulate apple cider vinegar, hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes. Okay, so it's going to help with that in the stomach and the rest of the digestive process. Okay, now the other one is obviously digestive enzymes. So the most powerful digestive enzymes that there are is definitely ones that include pancreatic enzymes as well as hydrochloric acid. Now, this doesn't always work for everybody and sometimes isn't necessary for everyone, but I want to talk to you about this particular kind of trio situation of the strongest digestive enzyme, because most of you that are here have been struggling with what you've had in your gut for some time. And you usually need something a little bit stronger. It doesn't mean necessarily that for those of you who are sensitive, you won't be able to tolerate it, but you do need digestive. It's a power, right, in the body. So it's something strong. You need that strength. So looking at a digestive enzyme could be helpful for you. There can be some scenarios where some people don't tolerate it all that great. But typically you'll see those 3 digestive pancreatic enzymes I was talking about. So lipase, amylase, and protease. Those are the pancreatic enzymes in there. You'll see hydrochloric acid in there. You'll see some oxybile in there, right? Remember we were talking about the gallbladder and the liver and bile. So these can be really helpful. Now, how you take digestive enzymes is really crucial. So when you look under the bottle, it'll typically say take 2 capsules, usually. Take 2 capsules with a meal, or take 2 capsules before a meal. Now, for some of you, depending on what you have going on, so if you have Helicobacter pylori, for some of you, it may irritate you to take that digestive enzyme in the beginning of the meal. And it used to be thought that H. pylori kind of grew if you gave it hydrochloric acid. And we're starting to find out that that's not really the case. It's just more about when you take it. And so we find that with people with kind of severe H. pylori, taking a digestive enzyme after your meal works really well. Okay, so that's something that I do with my clients. But for those of you who suffer with like feeling really full after you eat, or gas and bloating and like belching, I highly recommend this, which is to find out what your ideal dose is by going 1 cap at a time, and to use 1 cap before a meal, 1 cap in the middle of the meal, and 1 cap at the end of the meal. Because if you're just having it in the beginning of the meal, you know, just the way that supplements work, you're not really, you know, you don't necessarily have a really great churning effect that's going on. And so you might feel like kind of better, but not completely. And this will make a huge bang for your buck. Now, the other thing to take into account is how much. So I don't know if any of you have heard of doing a hydrochloric acid or a digestive enzyme challenge, but I find that it works excellent. And so what you do is you start out with like a 1 to 2 cap dose, and you work your way up. And you work your way up until you find that you get a little bit of burning, or you get burning in your abdominal area. And once you get to that point, that's your body's way of signaling and telling you, like, I've had enough acid. Okay, I've had enough enzymes, like this is enough. So what you do from there is you back up by 1 to 2 caps, and that's your ideal dose. Now you're thinking to yourself, how far could this go? Yeah, it can go pretty far. If you don't have much digestive power and you've been having chronic digestive issues for a long time, then you can be going up to 12, 24, 48 caps. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but what happens, that doesn't always happen with other supplementation for the body in general, but with this, it really works amazingly, is that, you know, you get to that ideal dose, you work on it for some time, and then you start finding out that, oh, I don't really need that extra cap. And you start working your way down, and you start taking a capsule away. Yeah, that's how you find it, Kim. And you start taking another one away, and you start taking another one away. And so when you do that, then you'll get yourself all the way back down to a very low dose of like 1 to 2 caps, or you'll come off of it completely. And that's the ideal, right? As you get your gut functioning, moving, and all of that. But the body, what happens is it almost becomes a sleepyhead. Like it stops working. Like it goes, oh, I don't know how to do that. You're like, yes, you do. And then the cells finally wake up as it gets these surges. And then what happens is the stomach and the gallbladder and the liver and the pancreas, they all start producing enough hydrochloric acid because the vagus nerve is being activated properly. It's awakening. Everything's awakening. The cells are awakening. And then we begin to have proper digestive power. I hope that makes sense. If there's any questions or confusion about how I like to use the enzymes, please go ahead and comment, and I will happily answer that. Let's see. I wanted to address acid reflux really briefly, because when I talk about acid and using digestive enzymes and hydrochloric acid, people with acid reflux get freaked out. And I have to tell you that one of the biggest misunderstandings about reflux is that you actually don't have enough stomach acid. So I'm going to do a whole deep dive live stream on GERD and acid reflux, but I just kind of wanted to plant a seed and let you all know that. Okay. So we always talk about, okay, well, you know, those are great kind of maybe band-aids for some of you, or one part of the puzzle, if you will, of your entire gut health journey. But, you know, there's other pieces as well, right? So if during this time that you've had low digestive power and the stomach hasn't been able to really have enough hydrochloric acid to kill off those bacterial pathogens, well, then you've been vulnerable, to pathogens, pathogenic infections that have invaded your body, right? And they don't typically just go away, especially for those of us with gut issues, but health issues across the board. The other factor is that there's a leaky gut, and just taking enzymes isn't going to help heal a leaky gut. So there's a lot more to it than just this, but this is a huge foundational piece in your gut health journey and really overcoming your chronic digestive conditions. So for those of you who haven't seen it, I do offer a one-off GI map test. There's actually a video on it here in the group where I did an entire live stream showing you the test and breaking it down. And I offer that for $589, and it includes my analysis of your results. So I come on live with you on Zoom, just like we're kind of talking right now. And I go over your results with you. I share with you the analysis that I see, and I correlate that with the story that you've shared with me. It does not include a protocol, but if you choose to move forward from there, that's something that we can talk about. But this will definitely give you a wonderful big lens of not only pathogenic bacteria, good bacteria, but it will tell us what is your digestive power in your body? How is your immune system secreting and functioning in your gut? Is there a leaky gut presence there, etc.? Okay, so it's got a lot of wonderful markers in there, and having a good analysis makes it so much easier to understand, and it really creates a big picture of what's happening. So if that's something you're interested in, you can comment here on this live stream. You can also DM me, and I'll be happy to chat with you and get you started. Let's see here. There was a question that was asked in the group real briefly, I believe this last week, and it was about IBS. I think it was just, wanting to know a bit about IBS. And in short, IBS is a BS. Because what it means is your doctor has not been able to diagnose you into what they know. So they haven't been able to put you into that cookie cutter diagnoses. And when they can't do that, they label that as IBS. Okay, that's what they do. And so IBS is just meaning for you that you need to really uncover the underlying contributors. What are the stressors that are causing your chronic digestive condition? And I tell you, it is never just one thing. It is a conglomeration of things together that is bringing you to the point that you're at. So really rectifying that and getting that clarified, working with someone like myself to help you really uncover, understand, educate you, and then do something about it and have that something be natural, and that's going to help promote your overall health is really what you need. So I'm just going to give a moment for anyone else who has any questions. I'll be happy to answer them. Again, whether you're here live or on the replay, feel free to drop your comments, your questions. I'll be happy to answer them. And as I'm waiting for that, I don't know if any of you guys saw on the thread for the appeal live stream that I did last week. We've had some really good conversations in there about the appeal coding. And I think what I'm going to do, because I have a feeling that some people are mistaking the wax coating that is like on an apple, for example. Yes, I can. I can, Kim. And so the wax coating, I think, is confusing some people between that and the appeal coating, because the appeal coating you really cannot tell. And so I think I'm going to do a quick little video demo for you guys and show you some things that you can see and why it's so important to do certain things like with your apples when you consume them. So I'll do that. If that sounds interesting to all of you, please comment and I will do that. Okay, Kim, can you share more about H. pylori and hydrochloric acid? So what I can share with you is that we used to think that hydrochloric acid used to feed the H. pylori, because typically with H. pylori, what we see is that the hydrochloric acid was imbalanced in the stomach particularly, and the enzymes were imbalanced. Now, I'm starting to see that maybe the research wasn't so great, okay? And so what we know now is that we're actually seeing that hydrochloric acid is actually helping to get rid of the H. pylori. And it makes sense. I mean, you would think it would have been obvious years ago, but you know, it makes sense because the hydrochloric acid is responsible for killing off bacterial pathogens. And that's exactly what H. pylori is. So if you have enough of it in the stomach, it will begin to, you know, kill it off. Not completely on its own. You need other factors as well, but it's one of those preliminary stages that you have to have in place. And maybe we can do a deeper dive on that too. When I talk about reflux and GERD, we can talk about that some more too. Let's see here. I just want to make sure I shared with you guys everything that I wanted to share because there's a lot in there. Next week, I am going to have one of my current clients on for an interview. So that'll be really fun. You guys are welcome to pop on here, listen, ask her some questions. She's just super delightful and she's making some really great strides. So I thought it would be really nice for you all to hear that. Yeah, Kim, you're so welcome. Love you, girl. And I think that's it for today. If there's no other comments or questions, I'll see you all next week again, Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And have a beautiful rest of the week. All right, y'all. Bye-bye.